Okay, we're going to look at this mechanism question. It's from the 2017 paper. They've given you this little schematic diagram over here where they show you basically the measurements between all the points. That needs to be copied out exactly as it is. Be very careful. You see that they've given you a 60 degree over there. Some people messed it up and they thought the 60 degree was between that line and that line over there. And that was quite confusing for some people. Check where the measurements are. Make sure that you transfer that information perfectly across onto your drawing. Right, they've given you the specifications over here. It says the positions of OC and the groove GH are fixed. The connecting rod AB is pin jointed to the crank OA. Sliding rod DE is pin jointed, connecting rod AB and D. Pin F is fixed to the sliding rod DE. It gives you all the measurements between AB, DE, AD, and DF. Hopefully you guys will be able to see that. I think what I'll do is I'll just zoom into all of that so that you can see that a little more easily. Right. It then tells you the motion of this. That is very important. If you just read through that, it says as crank OA rotates in a clockwise direction. Please note that as soon as you see that, underline it, whatever, to make sure that you go in the right direction. If you go in the wrong direction, you're going to get a very different drawing. Connecting rod AB freely slides through swivel C. Okay, so you've got swivel C over there. It's a swivel. It means it's rotating around a fixed point, and this rod is sliding through it. Very, very important that. Point E of the sliding rod, DE, reciprocates along this groove GE. So there's GE over there, and this point E is sliding along there. That's also very important. Right. Instructions: draw to scale 1:1. Trace the locus of the generated point by F. Okay, there's F over there. So we need to find out what shape that point F is going to make as this mechanism revolves. Okay, let's get moving. Here is the drawing I have sketched out. I'm going to get it as big as I can, and then we'll get moving with that. Right, okay. First of all, number the outsides. So if there's point A, place point 1 at where A is, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Very important that you do that. You'll note that I've also placed a little 1 at where F is, okay? And what we're going to do is we're going to place a little 1 at where D is. And what we can do now is we take a line going from C going to 2. Okay, so there we go. I'm going to draw that line. Okay, that line is basically representing A. A has now moved to where 2 is, so A2 is going to move. It's obviously sliding through there. We don't need to mark off where B is because they haven't asked us for anything like that. But the point that we do need is this point D. Note the distance that point D is over there. That's going to remain the same. I'm going to pull that down to where A2 is. I'm going to mark it off on this line, and I'm going to label that as D2. Okay. I'm then going to go to over here. I'm going to draw a line going back there, and I'm going to mark off, that's A3, and I've got over here D3. And then I go over here, and we carry on going around, just marking off all of these lines from all of these points. I'm just going to do all of them all at once. They're all construction lines, just going through that point C. Make sure that you do them as neatly and accurately as you possibly can. Okay, I'm just going to take a different color now. Let's just get that A8 in a better position. 9, take a different color from 9, just to make it easier for us to see what's going on in the video. 10, 11 is over here. All of these lines that I'm drawing, they're all construction lines. And now we're going to take all of these. Obviously, that's A4 is over there, A5, A6, A7, A8, etc., going all the way around. I now take that measurement. Remember D, I've gone, there's D2. Go to A3, there's D3. A4, there's D4. D4. Go to 5. Mark that off as D5. Go to 6. Mark that off as D6. Go to 7. Mark that off as D7. Go to 8. Mark that off as D8. Go to 9. Mark it off as D9. Go to D10. D10. Go to 11. Mark it off. D11. Go to D12. Let's just check that. D11. D12 is D12. And obviously we've got D1 over there. Right. Once we've got that, I now take lines that we're going to draw from, well, we've got D1. Note the distance that I've got over here. It says that it's 120 millimeters. Okay. I'm now going to take that same 120 and I'm going to go to where D2 is. I'm going to mark that off and I'm going to draw a line going from D2. Let's just draw a line going from D2 down to what we have just found as E2. That would be E1 over there. E1. Let's go E2 on there. Okay. And obviously E2 also has this distance of 40. Remember, there's my 40 over there. Measure that off carefully. There's F on that line. Go to where D2 is over here and measure off where F2 is going to be. And then I'm going to draw a line from D3. Sorry, let me just measure that off. Note the pair of compasses set to 120. Measure that off. That little point over there is going to be E3. I can now draw a line going to E3 from D3. Line coming down there and measure off the F point on there, which would be F3. And then I go over here to 4. I need to take my pair of compasses set at 120. There we go. Draw a line going from there. And I'm going to end up with F4. And then I go with my pair of compasses to 5. There's 5. Measure that off. And now I'll draw a line going from D5 to E5. Okay, and measure off on there. F5. F5. And then we go with my pair of compasses to D6 and mark that off. Draw in the line going from down to there. And I have now found 6 going to F6 over there. There's F6. And then we take this again and we go to 7, D7, there's D7. That would be E7 over there. Okay. Let's draw that in. D7 coming down to there. And now I can measure off the distance of F7. F7. And then we take D8, going down here to E8. And then we draw a line coming down over here. There we go. And then we take the measurement and we mark that off as F8. And we go over here to D9, mark that off, and I find E9 over there. And I draw a line going between D9 and E9. Let's just get the right pencil here. There we go. And you measure off that distance again for F9. And then you go to 10. And you measure off 120 with your pair of compasses. And you end up with E10. And you draw a line going to E10 from D10. And then you measure off F10. And then you go to D11. And you take your pair of compasses. And let's just find where there's the 11. That's it. So I just need to find that point. There it is. And you measure that off. And you have E11. And you draw a line going from there to there. There's my D11 over there. Going to E11 over here. Mark that off. There's E11. F11, at least F11, and then you go to 12, take your pair of compasses, and mark off E12, E12, and you measure off that distance to E12 over there, and you take that measurement and you mark that off as F12 over there. And then you take your pencil and you're going to make little dots going between these little lines. Just working around nice and smoothly. Make little dots. I find that works really well. Gets you a good representation as to what that curve is meant to look like before you draw it in dark, and you can check and go, okay, that makes a bit of sense. Maybe I just need to make a bit of adjustment there. And then once you've got that in place, you can literally go around on those little dots. You can use a French curve if you want to make it a bit smoother. I'm just going to freehand it because of time. There we go. Going around on my dots, and I have got in that curve over there, and that should get you all your marks. So just remembering, basically what we're wanting to do is to draw lines going through that point C to all of these points A, okay? You need to then measure off the distance of AD over there, okay? AD, that should be that distance over there, and you're measuring off those distances on there the whole way around, getting all of these points D1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Then you are taking a measurement of 120. That's this measurement of DE over here, and you're just moving it to the different points that you measured over there and arcing off on this sliding rail over here. And then you are then taking this measurement over here of DF, and you are going to all of the points D1, 2, 3, 4, etc., and marking off on these blue lines that I drew down over here between D's and E's, and you get the points for F, and after that you can just draw it in. Cool, that's everything.